What's going on, everybody? Today I want to talk about American Psycho, written by Bret Easton Ellis. You could think of the movie as well, although the book is much better. Uh, Takes place in New York City, 1987, and it's about young guys. It's a period in America, especially in New York, where business and corporations, corporate America in general, is at a peak. And a lot of young, highly educated men are making a lot of money in their early career very quickly outside of school or whatever institutions they come out of. And I really want to talk about not so much the storyline and not so much the individual character of Patrick Bateman in the film, but I really want to talk about the society that breeds that kind of character and why it does so. American Psycho was written by Bret Easton Ellis, who himself moved to Manhattan and had a condo or was looking to buy a condo in his early career, and was in a stage in life where he was making money and surrounded by his young friends on Wall Street that are also making a lot of money, and kind of obsessing with this culture of luxury. It's the idea of the designer clothes and high-end restaurants, tanning salons and GQ magazines, Armani suits, those kind of materialistic and just aesthetic aspirations. I want to talk about why Patrick Bateman, the character, becomes the way he becomes, or why we see him the way we see him, because we don't see his early life and we don't see his later life. We have this in the moment right now. And the way it's written is like fast paced, right then and there, which I love. It could be a little bit much for some people if you don't understand this world, or you have to look into it and learn it. They will be name dropping name dropping brands and lines of clothing and designers that you're expected to know and be impressed with. Although it seems like that is what's making everybody go backwards. So, what breeds this kind of individual? And I've always had this idea in my head that everybody's problems are their problems. So, the problem of somebody who is making $20 an hour and trying to pay their electric bill, those problems are not much worse internally the way they feel than the person who is making 200,000 a year and their biggest problem is their P&L sheets that day, or the fact that they have a meeting and they want to make a reservation at the best restaurant possible but they can't. The problems are to each his own. Everybody's problem is their biggest problem. And in American Psycho, we really see that when you're kind of placed in this world of living without the need to survive, there's no true hardship. Everything is already laid out. There's no need for survival. Your primitive instinct is not activated. In fact, it's kind of the opposite. Obsessing at gyms and social clubs over the best looking business card, getting reservations at the top restaurant available, wearing the newest and best designer, having early access to this and that and whatever the case is. Having all of those things strips away your primitive side, which is a part of everybody and needs to be expressed because if it's not expressed, it builds and builds and builds, and over time will breed a character like Patrick Bateman. And in the film, or in the book, in the novel, we see the primitive side because it is no longer possible for him to hold it inside. That's why the killings and, you know, crude acts of sex and primitive and a primitive way of thinking, it's expressed because it's been suppressed for too long. A human being needs to express those things. In many ways, you could compare it to Chuck Palahniuk's Fight Club, where everybody is suppressed and lost in a world of materialism, and the problems that people face shift from problems of, not problems, but worries of ways to survive, to just worries about things that shouldn't be a worry at all. And that's what happens to the human mind. If you don't have problems in your day-to-day life, your mind will find them on its own. And if it's not worked on and developed, it could just progressively get worse and worse and worse, to the point where, like Patrick Bateman does, you have an anxiety attack because you might not get the reservation at 8 o'clock that night, and that is your biggest worry. I think Bret Easton Ellis is trying to tell us how easy it is to get fascinated how easy it is to get fascinated in a world like this, and also at the same time get lost in a world like this. And how it's Patrick Bateman is trying to fit in, but yet it's not working at the same time. A major aspect of what's going on in American Psycho is the obsession of oneself aesthetically without any moral compass at all. So it starts with the wake up routine, and, you know, the mask, as well as, you know, obsessing over how your body looks and your haircut, the clothes you wear, everything that's external, and never worrying about what's going on internally. Patrick Bateman is a character that has been desensitized to everything, because he does have access to what one would think is everything, but it's completely the opposite. He has no access at all. I've taken a class before about utopias in America that try to survive, and utopian societies which are borderline, or always end up being borderline, cults. And there was a fascinating concept that the only societies that were able to survive, which was not many, if any, there's only one left today, were ones with extreme levels of discipline. Because the idea was that you're not really free if you can't control your will to do anything at any moment. A lot of people think that's the idea of freedom, that I could do whatever I want whenever I want. It's only once you realize true freedom only comes out when you have the ability to do something else, but you choose not to. Okay, what I think the problem is with the society that Patrick Bateman gets lost in is that there is no self-control. It is just a complete Wild West with access to everything and no self-control, which is the opposite of freedom. You're actually becoming a slave to your surroundings. Day-to-day thinking, really a point of view perspective of a character in this world. So now, why does Patrick Bateman lose his mind? It's because it's just unnatural to live this way without expressing yourself and without doing anything about that instinct. You could say that he would need to be a part of Tyler Durden's Fight Club, but there is no option for that, and he's all alone in this world because everybody is just like him. And I've heard a lot of commentary on the character saying that he's not just like everyone else because he's a psycho killer. But the truth is, we don't know what all those other characters are like. They might be the exact same thing. But yeah, uh, that's the little brief analysis of American Psycho. I think I'm gonna do more parts to this because it's more that there's more that I want to talk about, but I really want to outline it the right way so it could make clear sense. That's a quick analysis of what breeds this type of character and the story and the world and the society of American Psycho.